Hello and welcome to Lot 49. Today is the 19th of November. Let's talk about some news. Alright, I have to pass that paddle without falling in. Today we have two pieces. We have Olaf Scholz phone call with Vladimir Putin, and we have Biden giving the okay for use of long-range missiles, Ukraine to use long-range missiles, particularly the ATACMS at the moment, into Russia. So let's start off with Olaf Scholz. Yeah, so on Friday he had a phone call with Vladimir Putin, and he made the general accusations of Russia invaded Ukraine and has to make peace now, and that's not really an accusation, but they laid out what they want, and they were pretty accusational towards Russia and Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Putin laid down the law on Olaf Scholz. He reminded him that it was Germany and the West that played the fundamental role in undermining Russia's national security by arming Ukraine, breaching the Minsk agreements, and that Germany should hold a lot of blame for this conflict in the first place. The Germans have their readout, their sort of record of their publicly made record of this conversation suggests that they are planning on continuing talks with the Russians, but the Russian version, which was released, indicates no such. I don't think they're closed to it. They're not closed to continual communication with Germany, but if the Germans aren't willing to engage with the facts and the reality, then they indicate that there's not much point in continuing conversations with them. I think this Alexander Mercouris, yeah, that's right one, has indicated on his channel that this was done to make himself look like the reasonable, safe militarist candidate for Germany in the upcoming snap elections after the German government dissolved. He's trying to take votes away from Friedrich Merz. I don't know if Friedrich Merz would actually be more hawkish towards Russia or not. He has talked about sending Taurus missiles to Ukraine instead of providing them with extra money. When this idea was first floated, the Russians made it clear that if the Germans gave Ukrainians the means and the support and the permission to use long-range ballistic missiles, well, they're not ballistic missiles, they're guided cruise missiles, into Russia, then that would be considered an act of war, and that Russia would feel free to respond likewise towards Germany. So the missiles were so they were holding back on. So Scholz decided not to send the missiles to Ukraine. It's a wise decision. Whether Frederick Merz would do this or not, would send the missiles, I don't know. He may just be doing this simply so that he's a candidate that's not sending more money to a ton more, billions more euros to Ukraine, while Germany's suffering financial, industrial, economic catastrophe. There we go. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say about that. Not productive in any real way, but it is. This was the first time in 2 years that the two had spoken, actually. I guess it's positive that they are talking, that they have in fact reached out and talked. It sets a precedence, but it is perhaps a step in a positive direction. So let's move over to the US, and Biden has of course given the go-ahead for ATACMS to be used by Ukraine on Russia. So the excuse given for this escalation by the US is the alleged North Korean troops in the Kursk region. There has still been absolutely no evidence to prove this. Colonel Larry Wilkerson was talking on Jamal Thomas's show about this move probably just being Biden being spiteful. He lost the election. Well, okay, I'm going to go down. Right, maybe try this way around. This way. That's roots. Alright, in a second. That's the trick. Use all 4 limbs and your mouth if necessary. Right. Yes. He's probably not in a particularly good headspace right now, Biden. He just wants to make problems for people. I think there's also an element of setting this up as a trap for Donald Trump, who claims to want to stop this war. I think. But anyway, yeah. So if US crosses one of Russia's red lines, and is directly involved in attacks on Russian soil, then he hopes, I guess, that Russia will respond by attacking US forces and getting them killed. This will rile up Trump's base, and they'll start wanting him to respond in kind and keep the war rolling. So how will Russia respond to this? I don't think there'll be an outright war. Well, there may be like a 2-month war. I'm sure the Russians are prioritising talking to Donald Trump at the moment and organising some kind of peace after this stage of a conflict. But there may be like a 2-month brush war until Trump gets into office, in which American planes that come even relatively close to Russia in international airspace or international waters are fired upon, maybe not to sink but as a warning to not approach further, or just to damage. Like, you know how Ansar Allah is not able to sink American and British warships in the Red Sea, but it can damage them so much that they withdraw to be fixed. You may see something similar to that. No sinking of US ships and loss of its person and massive loss of personnel. Something the US can recover from, but also something that hurts the US and reminds it that it is not impenetrable, and it is vulnerable, and it will be, and that the Russians are not afraid to kill them if necessary. Or they may simply provide weapons to Ansar Allah and Hezbollah, which they can be used to fire on US and Israeli and British shipping in the Red Sea and in the East Mediterranean. Keir Starmer has previously been jumping at the bit to fire weapons into Russia. Simple soul that he is. And I think if Biden gives the green light for US weapons to be fired in, so too will Starmer. So it'll be a similar situation, but this with the Storm Shadows, not the attackers. So I think you could see bases in Cyprus being attacked in response. But of course, because Starmer's not going to be replaced anytime soon, how British and Russian relations return to, I would say, Cold War status rather than a hot war status, it remains to be seen. And of course, if Friedrich Merz becomes leader of the German government, the next election, he may also agree to send in Taurus missiles, and Germany and Russia would end up in some form of hot war. I don't know. Part of me feels that the only way the West can actually begin to back out of this conflict is after it's suffered losses on its own soil and realises it can no longer rely. This is no longer a proxy war. Weapons plants on its own soil are being destroyed, so We shall see what we shall see. Maybe the 2-month-long war is coming. Or maybe it will be a lot longer for other European nations. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, share and subscribe, and until next time, have a good day. Bye.